So here's some practice factoring trinomials. Make sure you do these on your own, and you can check the answers for these. So pause this video and do these on your own first, and then you can check your solutions for this. So this one here, again, we can just use our relationship that we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 2, add to 3, and we can go x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay. Now, these ones where we don't have the leading coefficients, probably not that important to show the area model, but again, the area model does work. Okay, for this one here, we have 12, two numbers that multiply to 36, add to negative 12. Okay, well, factors of 36 are 6 and 6, so that one will work. So we're going to end up with negative 6, negative 6. Okay, we could also rewrite that as a perfect square. Okay, this is a perfect square quadratic. For C, remember we always have to factor the greatest common factor first. So I see a 2 there, but I have a common factor of 2. I also have a cube, but I also have a common factor of x. So we always make sure we factor the greatest common factor first. Okay, so once we factor the greatest common factor, we can find two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to negative 7. That's going to be negative 4 times negative 3. Okay, but again, just a reminder, factor GCF first. Here again, we just finding two numbers that multiply to 14, add to negative 5 or positive 5. So if it's negative 14, we know that one has to be negative, one has to be positive. Okay, and the two numbers that multiply 14, really is not much choice, is 7 and 2, and they have a difference of 5. Just remember that, make sure you have the correct positive version. That's going to be plus 7 minus 2. Here we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 9 and the x's cancel out. Well, that is a special type. We need conjugate pairs here. Okay, so we need to have x plus 3, x minus 3, and the plus 3 and minus 3 cancel out, so that's why we have no x term in here. So when we have a leading coefficient where that doesn't factor out as a greatest common factor, we can use something called the four-step method. And this is based on this cross-diagonal product. Okay, so when I have 3x squared and 12, this cross-diagonal product of 36x squared is going to be equal to the other cross-diagonal product. So when to do it without kind of the grid, we can show it by multiplying the 3 times 12. So that is 3 times 12 to give us that 36. And that 36 is what we then use to split the middle. And that's the main idea of this. Okay, so it's important that we understand that the idea is we're trying to split that middle 13x into two area parts. So the two numbers that multiply to 36 and add to 13 are 9 and 4. So what ends up happening then is we end up able to work out that 9 and 4. So that really gives us a 9x here and the 4x here. Okay, so that's where the 9 and 4 are coming from. So what we can do then is we can plug in our 3x here and we divide by the factors of a. So what ends up happening is essentially might be a little bit easier to follow the grid, is that we just take out the factor of 4 here, okay, because one of these factors is going to be divisible by 3 and one not, and we take out the factor. This is going to be our 3x here, okay, and then we have our x here and our 3 here. Okay, so one of these is going to be divisible by 3 to give us this one here, which gives us the horizontal, which is our x plus 3 factor. And then this one that's divisible by 1 gives us our 3x plus 4. So this is kind of just kind of a step-by-step method. It's a little bit hard to understand what's going on here, why we put in the 3x here, because it clearly doesn't work when we actually multiply it out. We have to adjust for this with this dividing by the factors of 3 of the leading coefficient, okay, and it will give us our factored form. The grid method makes it a little bit more obvious. We're just really, the main idea again is to get the split of 9 and 4. And then we can get our factors by just finding the greatest common factors horizontally and vertically here. Okay, so this 4-step method is just another way to do it. Now, don't necessarily recommend using it, but some people like to use this. I prefer this grid method because it makes a lot more sense. But again, the main idea of this 4-step method is to be able to get the split. Okay, so we need to split the middle term to be able to factor that.